Well, good afternoon, friends. Rip City. You're like, who is this guy? Whose voice is that? That's Chris Burkhardt. I know it's been a minute. Have you missed me? Shout out to Brendan Slaughter and Chad Doing for doing a wonderful job filling in as always so I could go around the state for some wonderful OSAA state basketball championship action. Some of you have been following my Instagram story. Chris J. Burkhardt's the name on social, if you don't know. I did the small school three-step, went over to Baker City, went up to Pendleton, then all the way across down to Coos Bay. That was awesome to watch the 1A, 2A, and 3A schools. And then this week, we had 4A, 5A, 6A. Went down to Linfield, watched my Centennial Eagles, my alma mater. They made it to the Final 8 for the first time since 1978. Got a first-round win against North Eugene. That was pretty awesome. Went over to Forest Grove, watched some 4A hoops. Had the girls and the boys going on. The nice little hallway separates the two gyms. You can just go back and forth, watch basketball all day long. And then, of course, I was at Chiles Center, where we watched some massive upsets, some of which you heard right here on Rip City Radio. I got to play this one for you. How about the state champion Tualatin Timberwolves? They went out there and scored 6 points in the final 5 seconds to get an upset victory over the Central Catholic Rams. And friend of the show, you've heard him here plenty of times on Rip City Radio, Preston Highfield was on the call.
Powers waiting for the inbound. Here it comes. Looking quickly into Olvera. It's partially deflected. He gets the ball to Viola Jr. A three for State. And it's good! It's good! 1 seconds to go. And they call a timeout. They call a timeout. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Tualatin leads 70-69. 1.7 seconds to go, though. Central Catholic got a timeout off with 1.7. I do not believe what I just saw. Back-to-back threes for Pat Viola Jr. They may have just stolen a state title. Unbelievable. Tualatin 70, Central Catholic 69.
That was quite the performance there. If you were watching that game, Tualatin trailing by 6, goes down, hits a three-pointer, gets fouled. They missed the free throw on purpose, tap it out. Clock malfunction allowed them to set up an out-of-bounds play because they did get possession. They hit that three, ball game. 6 points in 5 seconds to win a state championship. And then West Lynn on the girls' side wins their first state championship, probably thanks in large part to assistant coach Kevin Barry, my former boss at NBC. Shout out to him. So that's where I've been. All the traveling and all that makes the voice just a little wiry. It's a little, I'm getting over that, you know. Everyone gets sick. I think I'm getting mine. I think sometimes, though, it's not just the bugs that get you sick. It can be watching the Trailblazers, because I am sick and tired of turnovers. They tend to be rearing their ugly little heads every single time the Blazers hit the court. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to stop it. They know that it's a problem, but it just keeps happening, and that is what happened when they went to Philadelphia last night and took one on the chin, 109-103. How did it happen? It's time for your Rip City Rewind. As I said, turnovers were the name of the game in this one. Thought the Blazers played pretty good through the first half, and they only turned the ball over 6 times in that first half. But in the second half, 13 turnovers. They ended up turning the ball over 19 times. Again, higher than their average. That turned into 24 points off turnovers for Philadelphia. Now, Portland did have 21 points off turnovers of their own, but they were getting beat up in the paint. Philly outscored them in the paint 60-36. Portland tried to stay in it with the second chance points, 27-12 advantage for your Portland Trailblazers. But if you watch this game, and I know you did, just like I did, even though I was on the road, it really came down to that fourth quarter. That fourth quarter and the end of the third quarter when the 76ers just start going on a run. I mean, Portland led 54-53 at the half. Denny had 12 points. Quentin Grimes had 15 points for the 76ers. But late in the third, 76ers started to pour it on. They went into the fourth leading 82-76. And then by the time there was 5 minutes left in the quarter, it was a 101-87 lead for Philadelphia. Portland did not roll over, though. They answered with an 8-0 run. They made it a 6-point game. They had a chance to make it a single possession a game, but what happened? Robert Williams gets a block. He saves the ball. He gets it out to Toumani Camara. Toumani Camara turns the ball over in transition. Turnovers really doomed the Blazers in this one. I think they had a chance late. The turnovers as they started to pile on, and that was what was allowing the Philadelphia 76ers to get out on those runs. Got to take care of the ball. Absolutely got to take care of the ball over and over and over. And we've talked about this so many times on game day in the fifth quarter. Oh, Blazers lost this game because of turnover. What are the keys to the game? Hint, I wonder what the keys of the game will be tonight. Take care of the basketball. Don't turn it over. Got to find ways to be smarter with the ball in hand, because right now it is absolutely dooming the Trailblazers. Taking a look at the individual box scores, starting on the Philadelphia side of things as we do. Justin Edwards had 21 points, 2 assists, and 2 rebounds. 11 points from Dominic Barlow. Adam Bonner had 2 points. 31 points from Quentin Grimes, who's been putting it on lately. Keep in mind, there was no Tyrese Maxey. There was no Joel Embiid. And there's still no Paul George, who's suspended at the moment. And the Sixers still got it going. VJ Edgecombe had 18 points and 12 rebounds. He also had 2 block shots. They were led off the bench by Cameron Payne, who had 11. On the Trailblazers side of things, Jeremy Grant, 20 points, 2 rebounds, an assist, 1 steal, 2 turnovers. 7 points from Toumani Camara. He was 3 of 10 from the floor. Donovan Clingan, 11 points, 15 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 block shots. Denny Avdia still appearing to trying to shake off the rust a little bit, but he did have a heck of a game. 25 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists, but 7 of the team's 19 turnovers. So we all love Denny, but you got to get that turnover number down. He had one late in that fourth quarter where he jumped up for a 3-point shot. Defense was right there. He put the ball on the floor and then tried to tap it, which double dribble, my friend. Just a boneheaded turnover. That can't happen in that situation. Drew Holiday, 5 points. He was 2 of 9 from the floor. He had 5 rebounds, 2 assists. He was a team worst, minus 23 on the night. 11 points from Scoot Henderson, who ended a stretch of games where he had been playing quite well. He was 4 of 14 from the floor. He did have 2 steals, 2 assists, and 3 rebounds. 6 points from Robert Williams III. Matisse Thybulle had 5. Sidi Sissoko had 4. And Vit Krejci had 9 points. He was 3 of 6 from the floor, all 3 shots from beyond the arc. But in the end, it was Philly 109, your Portland Trailblazers 103. So we have to absolutely continue to hammer home turning over the ball. You got to take care of the basketball. You have to. You have to take care of the basketball. I don't know how to emphasize this more. Take care of the basketball. Take care of the basketball. Take care of the basketball. We'll say it again. It'd be like Dexter's Laboratory. Omelette du fromage, right? That's all you can say. Fall asleep trying to learn French and the CD skips and that's all he learns. I think you need to get Tiago Splitter and Denny Avdia and Scoot Henderson and Drew Holiday and all the guys just got to put headphones on at night and just over and over. It's take care of the basketball. Take care of the basketball. Take care of the basketball. Because right now that is what is killing this Portland team. If it wasn't for the fact Utah just did not have the muscle to beat them, the turnovers would have doomed them in that game as well. And tonight you go and you take on the Brooklyn Nets, one of the worst teams in the entire NBA, a team that is fully entrenched in the lottery odds and trying to battle for ping pong balls. And they will beat you, even though they are eliminated from the playoffs. They are 17-50 on the season, 3rd worst record in the Eastern Conference and the 3rd worst record in the NBA. They have lost 3 in a row. They are 2-8 in their last 10. They will beat you if you do not take care of the basketball. So again, take care of the basketball. Take care of the basketball. Take care of the basketball. That is going to be the point of emphasis for this team until they do so. Until they take care of that basketball. Because that is the frustrating part with these games right now. The offense, it sputters at times, but it finds ways to score. Defensively, it's not as if they played an absolutely terrible game, but when your defense is constantly on its heels, trying to get back in transition because you're turning the ball over, it's going to be a rough day at the office and hard to pile wins up. And we've talked many a time about how this schedule for your Trailblazers, easiest in the NBA post All-Star break. But they have made it look far harder than it should. Should they have lost 2 games to the Charlotte Hornets? My answer is no. At least should have won that one at home. Should they have beat the 76ers without their 3 best players? Bet your rear end they should have. And should they beat the Brooklyn Nets tonight? The answer to that is yes. Yes, they should. If they can take care of the basketball. That is what you got to do. You got to take care of the basketball. Had a great start. They started 9-0. Up 9-zip. Great start to the game. But then it all fell apart late. Let's head to the locker room here. What Robert Williams had to say about it.
Tough one tonight. Rob, what do you think went into this one down the stretch, how you weren't able to pull it out?
I think just attention to detail, being sharp, just paying attention to the game plan, sticking with the game plan. I feel like we started the game good. I feel like we could have did better to start the second half, but just attention to detail.
What were you guys saying to each other when you were making that run in the fourth?
Just get a couple more stops, stick together, lean on each other, you know what I'm saying? But just came up short.
Rob, Thiago talked after the game about their physicality giving you guys a problem. Is that how you saw it too with some of the first half stuff?
Yeah, I just feel like, a player's typical thing to do when the physicality is bumped up is complain to the refs. I think us as a team, we got to just match the physicality, or if not match it, bring the physicality so it won't be any complaining.
Do you think you guys do that too much? Complaining to the refs?
Yeah, I feel like everybody do it too much. You dig what I'm saying? But as far as my team, I feel like we're getting better at it. But like I said, we got to bring the physicality so we don't have to.
Got to tell you right there, something he said that I really like. We got to match the physicality, or we got to bring it. You got to do that. Bring it. Make other teams adjust to you. Don't have to adjust to them. And he even talked about complaining too much. He's tired of that. Don't complain. Don't complain. Just go out there, take care of business. That's what you got to do. But he wasn't the only person to talk to the media. So did head coach Thiago Splitter. And as we always do here on Blazers Game Day, it's time to head to the coach's corner.
What did you see in this one tonight, Coach?
Well, a lot of mistakes. Again, 18 turnovers. I believe 5 in the first quarter, and then a lot of in the last one. 27% of the possession with turnovers in the fourth quarter. So, Danny has 7, Tumani has 4. We just got to get better. We just got to make better decisions. And then they hit all the mid-range. We kind of live with that for a little bit, and then we brought our bigs a little higher. They made those, and I think defensively we did a decent job. Could secure a couple of possessions, but offensively just got to take care of the ball.
You spent 20 years in Spurs and became the champion center.
Can't hear you, sorry.
You spent 20 years in Spurs and became the champion center. How do you think that experience have influenced your current coaching philosophy?
Trying to bring standards, the way we want to play, demand and love. That's a little bit what it is. You know what they go through. You got to demand a better game, but also know how to, give them a hug when they need.
And as a successful international center, how do you view the development of the current international center, Hansen's rookie year, and what areas do you think he still need to improve in order to fit the NBA level games better?
A lot of things. I think physically he's getting better. He's getting more fit. He understands the pace of the game. He's getting stronger. He's still very young. Learning the language. He's getting there. The culture, the way we practice, the way we play, the way we travel, getting used to that. You know, going back to backs, and getting late and playing next day. All of those things. Most of the rookies don't had it before. So, you know, a lot of things that he got to get used to and get better.
Thiago, if you could compare, I mean, you brought up Jarrett Allen. He credits you with all his individual development, you know, making it to like an all-star level. What do you see with Donovan Clingan? You know, are there any similarities, differences between them, and how do you plan to, you know, develop Donovan?
A little different. Jaren is a little bit more mobile than Donovan Clingan. DC can shoot a little bit more from outside. So there is, you know, I think Donovan is a better passer at this stage of his career than Jared was at the beginning of his career. So, you know, guys that you can develop, make them better players, but a little different profile.
And there you hear from head coach Thiago Splitter. Well, yeah, I think Donovan Clingan has a much different profile than Jarrett Allen, but of course, you heard early on too. I mean, he's going to talk about it, and he'll probably talk about it when he, you know, talks to the media on the road today about taking care of the basketball. He talked about it before that game in Philadelphia. They know that's the problem. It's just a matter of just getting it locked in and actually taking control of the ball. This is Blazers Game Day. I'm your host, Chris Burkhardt. If you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You can hit us up on the text line, 88528. And of course, you can go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, and join the chat there. When we come back, we're going to take a look around the NBA because some pretty big news coming down the pipe that could definitely impact at least the Blazers' travel plans in the future. We'll talk about it when we come back here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Welcome back into this extended edition of Blazers Game Day today. Chris Burkhardt here with you, getting you through the moment the best I can. Gotta take those commercial breaks, run off and get some more tea, grab a couple cough drops. I am battling the sickness. And the worst type of sickness to get as well when you do radio, the sore throat. Like I'd rather sit here and host a show with some stomach pain. Anytime you start getting the raspy throat, you just start panicking. You're like, oh no, the tool of my trade, it can't be doing this to me. Don't be doing this to me. But we're going to do our, and then of course I come back and it's not an hour long game day. It's an hour and a half long game day. We're going to power through though. I'm not going to turn the mic over. Hopefully the Blazers can take note and not turn the ball over, because that is their bugaboo as of late. It has been the reason they have been losing games. You have to take care of that basketball. We'll see if they can do it tonight against the Brooklyn Nets. This is Blazers Game Day. If you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You can also hit us up on the text line, 88528, or go to Rip City Radio on YouTube. Type in the chat and have some fun there with us, as well as we get you ready for this game out east tonight at Barclays Center. Now, the Blazers are often known for the amount of miles they have to travel, my friends. When you're isolated in the Pacific Northwest and you got to go play in Miami and Brooklyn and Philly, and even a close team is an airplane ride. It gets tough. I did the math on this a while back, and the Blazers' closest opponent is the Sacramento Kings, which is like 600 miles away. And there are like 16 teams in the NBA who, if you take the 16 teams with their closest opponent and add up the mileage, it doesn't equal the mileage that the Blazers have to go for their closest opponent, which is pretty crazy to think about. I mean, you got 3 miles between Madison Square Garden and Barclays Center for an away game for the Nets and the Knicks. When I did the math, the Lakers and Clippers played in the same arena. I mean, there's plenty of teams who can just hop on a bus and go play their team, not the Blazers. But that might get a little bit easier here in just the near future. What am I talking about? It's time for some NBA news. Time to go around the NBA. Well, we did get a little bit of breaking news coming through, and one of the worst kept secrets in the NBA, but the fact that the news is actually getting out there does mean some pretty good things for basketball here in the Pacific Northwest. Shams broke the news today. Let's hear from him.
Breaking news. Shams Charania, take it away.
So, Peter, sources tell me that the NBA will hold a vote next week at the Board of Governors meetings on March 24th and 25th to allow the league to go explore 2 new expansion teams exclusively in Las Vegas and Seattle. And so these 2 teams would be targeted for the 2028-29 season. And there is momentum within stakeholders here to try to go out there and see what is the market here and what could those proposals look like. Because industry executives tell me that you're looking at somewhere between $7 to $10 billion per team. For Seattle and Las Vegas. And so this first step right now, this first vote, is looked at as a formality. There is momentum for the owners around the NBA to approve this vote, to go allow the league to go see what those bids could look like. This is just the first of a multi-step process. So you go out there, you give permission to the league to go explore. You get the bids, and then depending on if it reaches the threshold, then you have a final vote later in 2026 to approve the move to 32 NBA teams. And so there is a growing majority of owners right now, I'm told, that are supportive of expansion. You think about Seattle and Las Vegas. Those are 2 big markets in the NHL, in your world, in the NFL. And so could those 2 teams immediately emerge as top revenue generators? So that's what we're going to see play out over 2026.
And as someone who grew up with Gary Payton throwing the alley-oop to Sean Kemp and then Kendall Gill and Detlef Schrempf, Seattle deserves basketball.
It's about when, not if.
Okay, let's.
And there you hear Shams. It's a matter of when, not if. Does sound like the NBA will start this process, and it feels like it's been a very, very poorly kept secret over the last few years that the Seattle Supersonics would likely return. Who would be another team? Vegas has long kind of been in that conversation. It has emerged as a great sports town, quite honestly. Look at the support that they get behind the Las Vegas Knights. Look at how well the Aces have done for the WNBA. The Raiders are a little bit different of a beast. Part of the reason they moved them to LA wasn't for the necessarily hometown connection to Los Angeles. It was the fact that they're still going to generate buzz off of the outside fan who comes in, because the Raiders have always been an LA team. I mean, even when they're in Oakland, the amount of people who made the trek up for those games, and it's an easy drive to get over to Las Vegas for a Raider game. So you're not necessarily targeting the Las Vegas resident. But with this, I think this is going to be great. Start a team from scratch and see where they go. And I talked about the travel stuff. Yeah, that impacts the Blazers, because now you have a team that is, maybe a 40-minute plane ride, or you can hop on the train or bus, and just go up I-5 and be back in the same night. Those things are important. I mean, even the Sacramento one. I mean, you're looking at a 2-hour flight plus the trip to the airport, which isn't very close to the downtown core, and all that nonsense. Let's go out here, jump on the plane. We're in Seattle, fly back home, sleep in our own bed, and we're not arriving back in Portland at 3:00 in the morning. So, yes, selfish reasons. You want Seattle Supersonics back. Also, if you're, just a person who loves hoops, and we all do here, we're all hoop heads, a chance to, go watch away games is a little bit easier when you can go drive and do it. How many of us during the summer go up and watch Mariner games? I know I do. I try to get to at least one Mariner game a year, preferably, early morning Sunday, but, drive up, watch the game, drive back down, or catch a hotel and drive back home the next night, because it's such an easy drive to do. So I think that's great. Vegas will be great. And then you're also going to fix some travel issues a little bit, because sounds like either Minnesota or Memphis would be the logical team that would end up going to the Eastern Conference to balance out the conferences at 16 teams apiece. So a lot of change coming forward here. Like I said, Vegas is kind of emerging as a very, very good sports town. The NBA has been trying to build that relationship for years with the NBA Summer League, which has turned into destination viewing, one of the best spots on the entire NBA calendar, if you ask me. So, yeah, this is great. And Seattle is a team that never, ever deserved to lose their team. And I know you have all the stuff going on with the Blazers and Moda Center, and everyone floats relocation, and it's a scary word. But what happened in Seattle, I still think, is one of the biggest black eyes on the NBA in some time. Obviously, Tim Donaghy was a bad one, and now you get different scandals going on with Billups and Rozier and all that. But even those, I don't think those ones really punched the NBA in the eye like that Seattle move did, where they just totally turned their back on a fan base for the almighty dollar and an owner to go to OKC. Now, OKC is a great fan base. Don't get me wrong there. They deserve the team that they have there, and the Thunder are great. But Seattle has long been a wonderful, wonderful NBA town. It's produced wonderful NBA talent. And all of the fans I talked to from Seattle just loved the Supersonics. And unfortunately, when their hearts were ripped out, they lost their love for the NBA. And haven't watched a lot of NBA over the years because they don't want to. Getting that back is huge for that community. And I really, really like that a lot. One of our texters says adding teams to the league when they already have a tanking problem will not improve the league. I don't necessarily think that's the case. I think tanking doesn't have to do with whether you have 30 or 32 teams. I think tanking is a bigger issue than who you have. But keep in mind that this talk right here, there's going to be owners who push back on it. That's why they're going to go and have these votes. I mean, there's going to be owners who would prefer teams to relocate to Seattle and Las Vegas because they don't want to add revenue sharing for 2 more teams. So that's something that's going to be talked about as well, and see what these owners want to do. I don't think necessarily 30 versus 32 impacts tanking dramatically one way or the other. Tanking is unfortunately just become NBA culture in the way that they are allowed to tank for those ping pong odds and all that stuff. So there's different ways to fix it. If we all had the answer, we'd probably go be NBA commissioner, right? I think tanking sucks. I hate everything about it. I still want the Seattle Supersonics to come back. I like the idea of Las Vegas. I would love the idea of Vancouver because, again, selfishly, easy travel again if you want to go watch an away game. Vancouver is also such a much different town than it was 2 decades ago when you had the Vancouver Grizzlies. You could sustain an NBA team right now. So there's a lot to deal with here. End of the day, regardless of how you think on how this impacts tanking or 32 versus 30 or who should be, is it relocation, regardless, the idea that a team that should have never been taken away is going to finally return to the NBA is good. I mean, as a Blazer fan, I've missed the Sonics. That I-5 rivalry is phenomenal. I want that. I remember how fun it was, the rare chances you'd watch a Blazer Sonic game on Christmas. And you have a red versus green. Like, it's just like, oh, that felt good. And then you get, when you get Ricky Durant and you got Brandon Roy and you got all these stuff, like, I just loved it. So hopefully you can build upon that and get that rolling. Now, you said, same texter, expansion teams in the lottery for the next 5+ years is a horrible idea. Who says they're going to be in the lottery? Maybe get lucky. Look at what Las Vegas did. Not the NBA team, but the Golden Knights. Expansion, boom. One of the better teams in the NHL. They're playing in the Stanley Cup. Like, that thing happened quick. I understand NBA is just a little bit different, but how you go around protecting players and run through your expansion draft, it's all part of the show. Now, even if you are a team, you come in via expansion, you understand that you're going to have growing pains because your roster is just not up to snuff. But the fact that you have a team for a city like Seattle, it's a victory. It's an absolute victory. Now, it's not just Seattle making the news. There was some Blazer NBA news here. And it was kind of interesting because not very often at all, do you see Adam Silver at Moda Center. That doesn't happen very often. So I want to play this audio here because he took the time to sit down with Trailblazers and Brooke Olzendam for a nice one-on-one. Again, not very often. The commish of the league comes up to Portland and sits down with the Blazers. So let's take a listen.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Toyota Tip-Off Show. We have a very special guest in studio with us right now. That would be NBA Commissioner Adam Silver. Adam, first of all, thank you so much for coming to our beautiful city of Portland and for making a stop to sit here and chat with me.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brooke. Thanks for having me.
Well, this is a very exciting year for this Blazers team. Fans are pumped about it. They're currently making a push for the playoffs. Is there anyone who has stood out to you?
Well, I think Denny, just because he was an all-star this year and I had a chance to spend some time with him, and I love his spirit. I love his new ice cream that I had a chance to taste. You know, obviously Shaden, but he's out. You know, I mean, but it's a great young team. It's I should say Hudson Young too, just because I was in China just a few months ago, and there was so much buzz around him, around the summer league as well. So it's a very international team. I think you have 6 players born outside the United States and a young team on the rise, and they're making a lot of noise. And as I said, you had an all-star this year, so they're fun to watch.
You led me to my next question. Many of the Blazers players, as you mentioned, are from countries across the globe: Israel, Belgium, China, and Canada. So my question is, how does the NBA help grow the game of basketball internationally?
Well, there's so much we're doing internationally. I mean, we play games in the Gulf region. We've been playing in Abu Dhabi. We have a league in Africa. You know, I mentioned China. We're probably the most popular sport in China, and only continues to grow there. And it's one of the things about having a team here in Portland, Oregon, that it's so global. You know, that for those international players, they are not only huge stars here, but they're even bigger stars in their home countries. When somebody from, from a country is then playing in the NBA, even someone like Hansen, who isn't even getting as many minutes, is going back and forth with their G League franchise, but he's a huge deal in China. People are paying so much attention to him. Obviously, Denny in Israel, and in Serbia, where his father's from. So it's quite explosive in terms of the amount of interest, and probably right after soccer, we're the second most popular sport in the world right now, likely the fastest growing sport, an Olympic sport. So that's what's so amazing about the Trailblazers. They're the Trailblazers here in Portland. It's part and parcel of the identity. Obviously, one of the things I'm here to talk about is getting the arena work done. But this franchise for the past 50 years is, I want to say, because there's so many special things about Portland, I want to go so far as to say the team puts Portland on the map, but they do for basketball fans, certainly around the world.
All right, we will get to those renovations, but I want to talk about All-Star Weekend. It's no secret that we want it, Adam. We want it here in Portland. So what goes into making that decision in terms of what city does get it?
Well, first of all, the city has to apply for it. And so assuming that Tom Dundon becomes the new governor, majority team owner of the team, he's a very ambitious guy. I'm sure he would love to bring an all-star here. I think part of it, obviously, we need a state-of-the-art arena, and that's something we're very focused on now. And the other thing is that the event keeps growing, and the biggest issue becomes the availability of hotel rooms. I mean, I haven't looked into it lately because the team isn't focused on that right now. But we want to get everywhere in the league that we can. We just got to make sure literally there are enough rooms because we bring thousands of people to the market. All-Star Weekend has become All-Star Week. There's events throughout, and even beyond the ticketed events. I mean, there's literally hundreds of receptions and parties. I'm sure if we were here, Nike would have enormous events. So we would love to come here for All-Star. We just got to get into the dates and to some of the logistical issues.
That makes sense to me. Ever since the sale of the Blazers was announced last summer, you've received calls from a number of influential Oregonians and elected officials about what the Blazers mean to the city. You touched on it earlier as well. It's a relatively small market, as we know, but fans here are extremely devoted to this team. Why is it important to have teams in cities like Portland and not just the big markets like New York or LA?
Let me just begin by saying that I hear that around the league in terms of small market, big market, but we had a finals last year, that featured Indianapolis and Oklahoma City, and I was going back and forth between the two cities. And as the mayor of Oklahoma City pointed out, that Oklahoma City, I don't even know exactly where that ranks compared to Portland, but in the league vernacular is referred to as a small market. He was pointing out that something like 90% of Americans live in cities smaller than Oklahoma City. So to me, just bringing that to Portland's very much, I call it a mid-size U.S. city. I mean, it's, when you look at Portland and the metropolitan area, it's probably 2.5 million people or so. So it's actually, to me, a very large area. And so at the same time, this is a big country. I mean, obviously, I flew in from New York. It's a long trip across the country. And so you fly over all kinds of cities and states. And it's important that we're represented throughout the country. In addition, as I mentioned earlier, we have a 50-year history of just incredible success in this market. I mean, I hear about Rip City everywhere I go. You've had great success here in terms of interest, championships, Clyde Drexler, Bill Walton, players that have come through here that are beloved, Damian Lillard, et cetera. So, it is part of the fabric of this town and city. It's part of the fabric of this state. And we want to be represented everywhere. So that's why it's so important we're here. And as I said, I don't want to leave out among all those leaders. One of the first people to call me when this team, when Paul Allen passed, frankly, was Phil Knight, who said how important it was to him personally that this team stay here. And while he didn't end up acquiring the team, I think in part because of his age and other family situations for him, part of it, Nike not only is one of the most important companies to us, but it's part of the soul of basketball and the NBA. So I know I'm going to see Elliott Hill tonight, the CEO of Nike. I know how important it is to the folks at Nike from Phil Knight on down that this team, be successful here in Portland.
From Adam Silver, and obviously, of course, Phil Knight has some vested interest in this team. It's his hometown team. Didn't get the ownership nod. Tom Dundon did, but I think Adam Silver understands the importance of the Blazers being in Portland, and that's a really good thing. And hopefully, as these things continue to grow, as they've gone through all their votes and they get a nice renovated Moda Center, and Portland has another 50+ years of history here in Rip City. I remember when some other visiting teams came through, I believe it was Memphis came through, and talking to one of their staffers about how relocation and NBA and the Memphis Grizzlies and the Blazers, and he looked at me, and this guy's from Memphis, been working with that team, since the day one that they got to Memphis, and he's like, you could never move this team from Portland. It's the fabric of this city. It's amazing the relationship this team has with this town. That's something that's special, and I kind of sounds like Adam Silver understands that. He should. It's commissioner. It's his job. Also, we're on Rip City Radio. We talk Blazers. We're biased. We love Rip City. We don't want them to go anywhere. grew up with this team, just like he talked about. I grew up. I was like 6 years old, 5 years old, and those teams in the early 90s, Terry Porter, Clyde Drexler, Jerome Kersey, loved the late 90s, Scottie Pippen and Rasheed Wallace, and he's not your Sabas. He's Arvidas, right? It's not your Vitas, he's Arvidas. Sabonis. Those guys, Brandon Roy, LaMarcus Aldridge, Rip City runs deep. And I don't say that just because it's their slogan. All right, this is Blazers Game Day. I'm your host, Chris Burkhardt. We're going to take a quick little break. When we come back, going to head behind enemy lines, listen to Brooklyn Nets head coach Jordi Fernandez talk about this Brooklyn Nets team. We still got keys to the game. Chad Doing will be joining me in a little bit. NBA scoreboard updates, all that and more coming up on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Welcome back into Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here with you. Getting you ready for a little Blazers versus Nets action. The Blazers looking to rebound after a tough loss against the Philadelphia 76ers last night. Tonight, they get to play the Brooklyn Nets, a team that comes in with the third worst record in the Eastern Conference, which is also good for the third worst record in the NBA. They've lost 3 straight. They lost to the Pistons 138-100. They lost to the Hawks 108-97, and they lost to the 76ers 104-97. Portland, well, they also lost to the 76ers 109-103 in their last matchup. So you got 2 teams coming off losses to Philadelphia looking to get back into it. The Blazers will head to Brooklyn tonight, hopefully to get a rebound victory. I apologize to super producer Michael Oakes back there. He's like, this music's still running. Where's Burkhardt? Sometimes, as is the way for radio, you have to turn your mic on. Otherwise, your producer and the world won't hear what you were saying. I turned my mic on about halfway through my intro because, you know what? I'm a little rusty. I just came off the injury report, guys, and he's still sick. I'm on a minute's restriction, and they threw an hour and a half show at me. It's really all Chad's fault when you think about it. Speaking of Chad, he'll be joining us here in just a little bit when we get to our keys to the game. But as we focus on this Nets team, I do want to hear from their head coach following that loss against the 76ers. To do so, we go behind enemy lines. So we're going to use this time to hear from their head coach and talk about this team because the Blazers are entrenched in the play-in. People talking about what they need to do to secure their spot. It's basically locked in. And Chad talked about it yesterday. It's not so much about guaranteeing the 8 spot or the 9 spot or the 10 spot. It's about making sure you peak at the right time you go into that play-in playing your best basketball. As for the Nets, you type in Brooklyn Nets in news, and all you see is 5 prospects the Blazers or the Nets could target in the draft. These are 5 players you should watch during the March Madness tournament because the Nets will be looking to get them with one, potential number 1 overall pick. A little bit different. Blazers still need to take care of the ball. That is the theme. Don't turn it over to give yourself a chance. But still, it's the NBA. Anything can happen. If you come in and you walk through the game, the other team will run past you. You got to set the tone. That's something Robert Williams said in the post-game locker room. Hopefully they set the tone against Brooklyn. What kind of tone can they expect from Brooklyn? Well, let's hear from their head coach.
Jordan, you guys were down by 28 and took a lead late in that fourth. Just what was the biggest difference and what changed for your group?
Yeah, taking care of the ball. I think that especially how we started the game in that first quarter, our offense was pretty inefficient. We were getting too late in the clock, and I think we kept it to 3 or 4 turnovers in the second half, which that's how you give yourself a chance. I thought the defense was consistently good. Allowed 53 in the first half. 51 in the second. That's how you give yourself a chance. And like you said, coming back from 28 points, obviously we saw some shots going in that we didn't in the first half, but it happens. You just got to keep shooting them, keep creating them.
That late game rotation of, the rookies, 10-day contracts, 2-way players, they really had nice rhythm. Just what did you make of the way that they were able to come in there and find a way to make an impact?
Yeah, I give them a lot of credit because those groups haven't played together consistently, and just to communicate, you see the energy they have. They talk to each other. They want to come back and win the game, and it was great. We have young guys, rookies playing in the fourth quarter, getting a lot of experience. And we have these guys that we need to know what we got, also playing high level to win a game, because there's nothing better than playing competitive minutes. Is way better than just playing minutes. And I thought this was great. Give them a lot of credit and figuring out, and you came up short, unfortunately, but very, very, very positive.
And right off the bat, he wasted no time. Oh, we took care of the ball. That's how we were able to mount a comeback. We only turned the ball over, 2-3 times in that second half. They were down big against Philly. They stormed back. And so taking care of the ball is a theme for Brooklyn too. So in tonight's game, it's going to be which team decides that they don't want to let the dam break. Because Portland enters the game averaging 17.3 turnovers, dead last in the NBA. The worst number. 30th out of 30 teams. Who's 29th? The Brooklyn Nets at 15.9. This game could get sloppy if we're being completely honest. Two teams that do not control the ball very well. We have seen games from Portland, though, especially if you go back to January and you look through that stretch where they started the 2026 calendar year playing great basketball. What was a common theme in all those good games? They weren't turning the ball over at their season average. They were turning it over far below their season average. They had the games where they had 12 turnovers or set their season low mark. I think it was 9 or 10. Like, they had really, really good games in that aspect. When this team turns over the basketball, they don't have the overall top end talent to overcome those mental mistakes. Neither does Brooklyn. That is why Brooklyn is one of the worst teams in the league. What they don't have is a Denny Avdia and a Tumani Kamara and a Donovan Clingan and some players that can keep the ball rolling when they need to. But the main thing is take care of the basketball. And that's going to lead you to great places, at least when it comes to wins and losses. The Blazers need to take care of the basketball. The Nets need to take care of the basketball. Which one of those things breaks tonight? Now, if you gave me the Nets defense versus the Blazers defense, I would look at the Blazers defense, say, okay, that is a better unit. I would suspect Tumani Kamara, Matisse Thybulle, Robert Williams, who will likely not play actually because it's the second night of back-to-back, but Donovan Clingan, and then Drew Holiday, Denny, Scoot, I would expect those guys to force turnovers, hopefully sloppy turnovers, and lead to getting out in space and getting out and getting points off those turnovers and getting fast break points and getting points in the paint and doing the things that lead to victories. Both teams struggle at points, and when they struggle the most, it's when they don't take care of the basketball. You got to do it. You got to do it. The Orb chimes in. Zappa asked the question repeatedly, does humor belong in music? I would add that to the sports broadcasting again. Very glad to have you back. Are you saying I'm funny? Are you saying my jokes are on point? Zappa had a very, very unique humor. But he was famous for it, right? My Guitar Wants to Kill Your Mama was a interesting song, but it slapped. It was a good one. It was a good one. Zappa... More people need to get in on the Zappa history, because that guy, wow, he was something else in the best way possible. I mean that as a compliment. He was awesome. You know what else is awesome? Like the Orb says, being back in the host chair after a long, long break. I think I have at least one more game I have to miss because championships get crazy. Got dance and drill this week, but we're having some fun. We're having some fun. I'm saying some other broadcasters very technically capable, but not heavy on humor. I got you. I got you, my friend. I'm having some fun. I'm glad to be back. I'm glad that you enjoy. I'm back. And we're going to keep rolling along. We still have plenty more. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to take a look around the NBA scoreboard, see what games are in action tonight, any that you should be watching because they could impact your Blazers. Chad Doing will join us in a little bit, too, for our keys to the game. All that and more coming up here on Blazers Game Day on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio, 620.
Right now, you can score big on our most popular model. We've got your 2026 Ioniq 5s as low as $299 per month. We've got your 2020...
Guys, what am I, a rookie? Am I on a two-way deal? I need to figure my stuff out. You know, I'm not gonna be here on the next game day because Chad's gonna have to send out a press release. And Burkhardt on assignment, G League. The heck, dude! Act like you've been here before. I need to be more like an all-star. I need to get my game on. Go play. I did that the other day. I sang the lyrics of All Star by Smash Mouth, but I didn't sing them. I just said them like I was trying to talk to my child. I was like, hey, you're an all-star. Get your game on, go play. You know? And like, she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, all that glitters is gold, kid. You know, only shooting stars break the mold. And she's like so confused. But it was quite hilarious. Just take a song, take the lyrics, and just start saying them to your child. Highly recommend it to be entertained. Hopefully you're being entertained here on Blazers Game Day. If you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You can also hit us up on the text line. 88528 is that number. We're one of our texters who that number keeps popping up. They're an avid texter. But talking about the team being a turnover machine, and then says it's just me, or have teams figured out how to defend Denny? And the thing is with that is, I think they've been sending a lot more pressure at him. They've been making him work more double teams, blitzing everything, trying to get the ball out of his hands early. And you could tell he's still adjusting to that. But on that note, I think it's good to have a player that forces defenses to defend like that. If it's working, that it's, you know, they're going to keep doing it, but hope that Denny can continue to grow in that role, get better at getting rid of the ball and fighting those things. Like, that was one thing that made, you know, Damian Lillard great, is the ability to keep the ball in his hands and not feel that pressure. Now, you did see what happened when they played the New Orleans Pelicans in what was that, like 2018? And you're like, okay, what's going on here? They're blitzing everything. They're doubling everything. We don't know what to do. Couldn't rely on Mo Harkless now for Camino to hit some of those shots. And, you know, Damian Lillard was getting flustered, and he got better because of it. And I would hope that Denny continues to get better as defenses guard him a little bit more intently. You know, it's not he's on the scouting reports now. And as that same texter said, they're a turnover machine lately. They are. But at 17.3 turnovers per game, dead last in the NBA, you're not a turnover machine lately. You're a turnover machine every day. Definitely have to fix that. Is today the day that you right the ship a little bit? I don't know. I would hope so, because the Blazers need a victory. And, of course, they need to continue to try to get up and play into that play-in, see if they can continue to race for the 8th spot or get above the Golden State Warriors, which very well could happen, as that team is currently just floundering, and without Steph Curry, it's been had a big impact on them. Those are the things you got to look at. Speaking of that, what is going on around the NBA? It's time to take a look at the NBA scoreboard. All right, let's take a look at what is going down around the NBA today, because there are some games you're definitely going to want to watch if you are a Blazers fan. Now, none of them have tipped off yet, but here is your schedule. You have Orlando taking on the Hawks in Atlanta. A game for you to watch is the Warriors taking on the Wizards. Warriors currently have a half-game lead over the Blazers, so again, if the Blazers can get a win in Brooklyn and Washington can stun the Warriors, who have been struggling, that could help. The Warriors, they've lost 5 in a row. Second longest losing streak in the Western Conference, behind only the Grizzlies, who have lost 7. But they get to play the Washington Wizards, who have lost 11 in a row. So, we'll see what happens there. You got Blazers Nets, you got Suns Celtics. There's still a little intrigue in that, because the Suns, they're what, 8 games ahead of you, 7.5. Highly unlikely to catch them, but still worth watching what's going on with the Suns, because they're also only a game and a half out of getting into the 6th spot and jumping Minnesota. So you're definitely going to want to watch that game. You continue to go down the schedule. What else is on the docket? The Grizzlies versus the Bulls. Grizzlies ain't catching Portland, but you can still watch that for interest levels. Mavericks, Pelicans, Lakers, Rockets, and then I do think one that is definitely worth watching, Spurs, Clippers, just because the Clippers currently in the 8th spot. You have a 2.5 game lead, 3.5 game lead over the Blazers right there. And you got to watch it because the Spurs are great. So if the Spurs beat the Clippers and the Blazers grab their win, everything starts to play out. You get a little bit closer to that 8th spot. Now, can you make that jump and get over that hump and get those 2.5 games back? It's going to be hard to do, but it's not unheard of. As you get closer to the end of the year, you start just running out of runway. But the Clippers, who have been very, very good, shockingly, I did not expect them to be as good as they've been without James Harden and Ivica Zubac, and those trades were like, what are they doing? But they're meshing, they're playing well. Ty Lue's got them doing great things, going from being 15 games below 500 to over 500. It's a massive jump for them. You got to give them credit. Now, can they sustain it? And can the Blazers take advantage of, some of their tougher games when they take those L's? You got to. So tonight, when you're in Brooklyn, you got to win. You got to take advantage of that, because if the Clippers go and lose to San Antonio and then the Warriors somehow flounder and lose to Washington, I just don't see that one happening because Washington's bad. But I also didn't see Portland losing to Washington when they went to Washington a few weeks ago. And if those things happen and you're the Blazers and you don't take care of business and get a win in Brooklyn, that's going to hurt. So that's what's going on around the NBA. This NBA Scoreboard Report is powered by McCord's Vancouver Toyota, where they live by the slogan, "We make it easy." Check out their inventory now at vancouvertoyota.com. I do love this part of the year, though. And it's so weird and not exactly what we're used to. Like, we are used to watching the scoreboard over the last 3 years. Like, okay, this is what you need to watch because the Blazers need to lose this game, and you also need to hope that the Grizzlies win that game so that Portland, air quotes, gains ground and falls a spot and has more odds at the number 1 overall pick. That's been what we've been doing for the last 3 seasons, watching Tankathon like crazy. Just reload, hitting the button to see what a prospective lottery could look like. Oh, it only took me 3 tries for Portland to get the number 1 overall pick. That's been the last 3 seasons. This year, you're watching the standings for the chance of getting a slightly better spot in the play-in. And that's great. That is absolutely great. Now, I did mention the Suns, and the Suns are 13.5 back. Portland is 21 games back. Can Portland pick up those 7.5 games? Highly unlikely. Because just like I don't see Portland losing 8 more games than Memphis down the way, I don't see Phoenix losing 8 more than Portland. I just don't see that happening. However, that gap between the LA and Portland, even though it has grown a little bit as the Clippers have started to play pretty good basketball, winners of 7 of their last 10, it's still obtainable. It's still obtainable as Portland hits the kind of the crescendo of the year, hitting the last stretch run, getting through March and into early April, which will end the season. Can you make up 4 games? You could. You got to play really, really good basketball. And the unfortunate part is, as of late, Portland hasn't. They got a victory over Utah. They didn't play their best game. They just happened to play the Utah Jazz. They took a loss in Philly. Why? Because they couldn't play 48 minutes of basketball. End of the third quarter, into the fourth quarter, just kind of fell apart. The turnover machine that one of our texters is talking about took over. Now, we know how good this Portland team can be. We've seen at the beginning of the year, or even though they were taking some losses, like the season opener, Minnesota, defensively they were looking good, and teams were talking about how good this team was going to be, and how you can't come to Portland and get an easy win anymore. Then you saw the turn of the calendar in 2026. Despite all the injuries, they come out of the gate and they are playing just absolutely incredible. One of the best teams at the turn of the calendar. We've seen what this team can do when they are firing on all cylinders. But we've also seen what happens when they're misfiring. And quite frankly, I think right now they're misfiring. And you don't have the excuses anymore, because you got Denny back, you have Scoop back, you have Matisse Thybulle back, you have Chris Murray. Now you won't have Robert Williams second night of the back-to-back. We understand that. And you don't have Shaedon Sharpe, which is a negative, because he was one of your best scorers. He's been phenomenal. He's your second leading scorer. He took the most shots on the team, so you ran a lot of offense through him. But for the most part, you're healthy. And you got your all-star back. Shake off the rust. Move forward. Play your best basketball. Those are the things you need to do if you are the Portland Trail Blazers. Tonight, if you are the Blazers and you are struggling and you have not been playing your best basketball and you went and you saw a doctor, an NBA doctor, and he looked at you and he took your temperature and he jotted down your symptoms, he would say, okay, and what pharmacy do you go to? Oh, I go to the one down the road. Okay, perfect. Well, I just put in a prescription for a game against the Brooklyn Nets. Okay. How many do I gotta take? Do I gotta take it? No, just one. Just take one. Just take one dose of the Brooklyn Nets. Maybe we'll fit. If you're still not feeling better, we'll take a second dose here in a few weeks. But this should get you right. It should at least put you in the right headspace, in the right spot, and things should start clearing up. Because again, the Brooklyn Nets have been not good this year. They are a team that you should be able to come in and beat. The ESPN matchup predictor puts the Blazers at a 70% chance to win this game. Now, that's just a matchup predictor. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. But the whole point is, Brooklyn has been bad. They've gone through, they've picked up some victories throughout the year, obviously. That's why they sit at 17-50. But 17 is a whole lot smaller than 50. Meanwhile, in Portland, 32 ain't that much smaller than 36. A little more even there. This is a team, the Brooklyn Nets, that you can absolutely get right. But you do not get right if you do not adhere to the game plan, you do not execute, and you do not play the proper way to win. Taking care of the basketball, playing good defense, being assignment sound. Assignment sound. That means when I say you set picks, you set picks. When I say you shoot ball, you shoot ball. You do what I tell you to do. Now, it may be just a little bit harder because you do not have Robert Williams tonight. He is not playing the second night of the back-to-back. That's not a shock. And if you watch that late comeback against Philly, I thought he was a big reason for that, especially on the defensive end. Now, this just in, literally tweeted 30 seconds ago. Vit Krejci also out for tonight's game. He was listed as doubtful with a left calf contusion. He has been downgraded out. So you won't have your sharpshooter off the bench, and you won't have one of the guys who's been one of your best all-around defensive players. Now, I know you have Tumani and Matisse, but gosh, Robert Williams has been so important to this team. Do you give, you don't have Young Hansen, who's out for the G League, so Chris Murray gets into that spot. Do you go super, super small more often? Those are going to be things we answer tonight. But again, against the Brooklyn Nets team, you should hopefully be able to get away with it. Prescribe one dose, and then we'll reevaluate you, see how you feel. That's what the NBA doctor would say. Play the Brooklyn Nets. This is Blazers Game Day. I'm your host, Chris Burkhardt. The voice is holding up. Whew, we're doing good. We're doing good. One more segment to go, though. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, our keys to victory. What do the Blazers need to do to beat the Brooklyn Nets? We've talked about it a little bit, but Chad Doing's going to join us. He's going to chime in on what he thinks they need to do. My guess is he's going to mention ball security. We'll hear from him here when we return here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio, 620. Yes, you got to right the ship. That is key, and I'm pretty sure your keys are very, very similar to mine, because one thing I've been hammering home for nearly the last hour and a half is ball control. Take care of the ball, secure the ball, don't turn it over. How do you do that? It has been frustrating to watch this team continue 17, 18, 19, 20 turnover games. You just can't do that if you're this Trailblazers team. No, absolutely. And yeah, if you attack the rim, get to the free throw line, do those little things, I think you'll be in a pretty good spot if you're Portland, because as you mentioned, you're going against a team that is number 2 in the league in turnovers. Something has to give. As I said jokingly, I'm like, if you went into an NBA doctor and you were feeling under the weather, they would prescribe you a game against the Brooklyn Nets. So hopefully Portland can take advantage of that with Denny back, continue to get everyone going. We did just see that the team mentioned too that Vit Krejci won't be in the lineup tonight, so you lose a little bit of shooting, but that's okay. He's not your ball handler. Just take care of the ball. No, you can't lose this game. You're absolutely right. And I hinted at something you said, because I'm a good team player. I listen to you when you fill in for me. And when you're talking about this team right now, and it's not about where they finish. It's not about getting the 8th seed, the 9th seed, the 10th seed. It's about peaking at the right time and going into whatever playoff scenario they have for the play-in, playing their best basketball. Absolutely. All right, Chad, I'll let you go. Finish up your prep. You got a pregame show in about 6 minutes. I I totally understand it. Just take care of the basketball. It's so much. No, you can't. You cannot. You said it, not me, but I will double down. They are garbage. You cannot lose. All right, man. We'll talk to you after the game. All right, buddy. There you have it. There's Chad fired up doing, getting ready for this game. And remember, you can hear from him coming up next, because once I leave, all I do is I hand the mic over. I don't turn it over. I give it to Chad, and he'll have the Trailblazers pregame show for you across the Trailblazers audio network. Man, he's fired up. That's what you got to do. Just take care of the ball. Sounds so simple. Easier said than done, but it should be easy. Oh, see that guy in between me and the other guy? Let's not pass to him. He's wearing a different colored jersey. And just don't be lazy with it. Can't have those unforced turnovers. Too many of those. Take care of the ball. Have a chance. The Nets are just what the doctor ordered. Music means it's time to go for me, not for you. Because like I said, keep it locked in. Because coming up next, Chad Doing has a Trailblazers pregame show across the Trailblazers audio network. And then he will hand the mic off at 4:30 to your radio voice of the Trailblazers, Travis Demers, for Blazers vs. Nets right here on Rip City Radio. And of course, when it's all said and done, keep it locked in for the fifth quarter, where hopefully we're breaking down a Trailblazers victory. Oh, Rip City. Hope it's a good one. I'll talk to you after the game.